Hello, Drunkduckers. This is Ozone Ocean. With me are Tantz and Bainzarine. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Irene.
So, I didn't really mean to do that. That just happened. My brain just did that this week. I wasn't being naughty.
It does kind of rolls off the tongue.
Oh dear. So we're talking about manipulation this week, and that's what we're getting into. But first, things up. So, hello, people. So I'm Ozone Ocean, of course, with me as Tantz, and now I'm going to introduce the music, because we're talking about manipulation. We already floated that already, but yeah, gotta introduce the featured comic. Featured comic was a comic I featured this week. It was called Fox and Feather Saga Volume 1. So I'm going to tell you about that now. Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean, and my feature for this week was The Fox and Feather Saga Volume 1. Aaron is an unusual case, a predatory creature, a carnivore, a yellow-furred vulpine canid, a fox amidst a kingdom of gentle herbivores who he is sworn to defend as a knight of their kingdom. He's truly a powerful and honourable warrior, and he's nothing when it comes to the mysterious palace guard, led by the intractable Captain Hazel. This is a fantasy anthro comic with heaps of fast-paced sword-fighting action. The art is black and white line art, and the story is action, drama, fantasy. There might be a bit of a manga influence here in the style with the big eyes and stuff, but mainly it's traditional anthro style, which is in other words furry. Animal creatures in human form, and it's very interesting. Definitely a fantasy comic with sword and sorcery, lots of action, fighting, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool so far. The action is just furious and fun. Enjoy it. This is a comic by Mad Fox 001, and it's rated E for everyone. Read it. That was Fox and Feather Saga Volume 1, and now I featured music by Gumulus that I'm going to pick. And the theme I picked this week was Gumulus' theme to Firefly Cross. It's a very mystical sound with traditional Middle Eastern style music mixed with techno fuzz. This one is intriguing. Originally from Quackcast number 285 from the 10th of October 2016. Take it away, Gumulus, with your theme to Firefly Cross. I hope you like that music. So, now we're talking about manipulators. And manipulation, really. Manipulation rather than manipulators, because we're talking about all the different kinds of manipulation. So this is a fairly broad topic, but it can be narrowed down to just talking about like manipulators and manipulation, manipulatable people. And so this is a topic I came up with this week. I don't know why I came up with it. I just came up with it, and I posted it in the forums, and 3 people had some interesting things to say. Both Gene Joke, Mark Rossi, Inky Moondrop, and Bravo, and they've all got their particular takes on the topic, which is they've got some really fascinating things to say. So, manipulators are people who manipulate others to do what they want, and this is something that we notice. Children are very, very they like doing this because they don't realize it's wrong, so they do it a lot. And when you're an adult, you kind of grow out of it. We'll have Tantz jump into this because she can tell us about more of the scientific stuff. So I'll just give you a broad thing. We have people who are very manipulatable, so they're very prone to being manipulable in more than others. All of us are manipulable, and we can be manipulated at any time. This is something that's just like, it just happens. It's part of life. And you can be manipulated while you're aware of it, and you can still be manipulated. So there's no kind of inoculation against it. And even being aware of it doesn't stop you being manipulated, because it's just how it is. So those are some kind of things to be aware of. I think being aware of manipulation can kind of make it a bit less likely that you're going to be manipulated. And it can give you kind of a leg up about trying to get out of it and not being manipulated, but you can still be manipulated. So you're not going to be protected against it. You're just going to be, it's going to give you a little bit of a vaccination.
By the way, no, you can't see him, but Oz was nodding as he was speaking. That salesman tactic. Encourage us to agree.
all the time. So there's manipulators and people who get manipulated. I'd like to say, when I was a child, I think this is the experience of most people. You learn how to manipulate others, and as you grow up, you learn, I think you relearn how to manipulate others, because you're not only encouraged out of that, but it's a very crude manipulation when you're a child. It's very kind of crude. You cry and you realize that making it look as if, you're really upset or something like that can make you get your own way, because people are, want to make you happy. So that's a very crude kind of manipulation. And I think you pretty much grow out of it, because you can't really exhibit those kind of styles of behavior for a long time. As an adult, you can't really do that. Even as a teen, even as an older child, that gets a bit babyish, and you realize that. But I think as a child, when I was a bit older, I relearned how to do that kind of manipulation. And you can, not that kind, but I relearned how to do manipulation of people. But you realize after a while that is a very, very negative thing, and it's not a pleasant thing. It doesn't feel good. It's not nice to have people conform to your ideas. It's not nice to make people do what you want that is not necessarily in their best interest. There's nothing positive about that. And if you're a normal person with normal kind of ethics and stuff like that, then you'll quickly realize that, and you'll grow out of doing that kind of thing. But if you're not, well, Tantz can tell us more deeply. I'm not going to kind of muddy the waters anymore. So, Tantz.
I want
But I mean, I don't want to tell us what's really going on. What is a manipulator?
Excellent. That's the best question. Because the first thing that we should do in all things, and that is a way indirect to inoculate yourself against getting manipulated, is to ask for a freaking definition. Like, what is it that we're talking about? And for psychology, at least, for psychologists, a manipulation and the act of manipulating, and a manipulator is a person that seeks to seize control and have power over some other person by using indirect means, and often very negative means. Like, manipulating action is always negative, and it is always what we would say toxic in broad terms. And the reason for that is that the manipulator feels, whether that is true or not, irrelevant. It's just what the manipulator feels, that if they do not find ways to force you into doing certain things, to feel that they control how you react or act in certain contexts, that they are not safe, and they will never get you to do things that they would like. This stems from a lot of things that are not to discuss right now. Manipulation is always negative, and it is always something that causes harm. Why does it cause harm? Because the main avenues of manipulation are the following. First of all, a manipulator will try to crush your self-esteem, make you feel that you are not able enough, strong enough, smart enough, or what have you, depending on the context, to call the shots, to make a decision, or to make a decision independently. The manipulator has to make the decision for you because you are not good enough to do it, right? So that is one method. The other method is that they will make you feel. They will make you feel a bad person if they don't, if you don't yield to whatever they want. Usually it is the weakness card. They present themselves as being pitiful, very weak, and you are being a blip hole for not doing what they want because they are so weak. And that's the power of the weak, as we say in Greek. And another way is also holding some kind of actual tangible power over you. For example, they have the cash. They control the financial stability of you in some way. So if you don't do whatever they won't give you money, right? Things like this. And these are just the very, very common, very broad things that we encounter all the time. And often, for example, the ironic thing is that the person being manipulated might be the one bringing the cash in, like bringing the money into the household, or the partnership or whatever. But the one that controls the money is the manipulator, because they have convinced the other person that they are not good with money, or they will be spoiled or corrupted or whatever. They can use anything and everything. So in the net effect of a manipulator is to weaken the other person's existence. Not only just this, like they lose themselves, who they are, what they want, what they should want, their goals in life. Everything gets crushed little by little and remolded into the shape that the manipulator wants, depending on how much and how long you live with this other person. So a manipulator is always toxic for the definition of psychology. Otherwise, it's not toxic and it's not manipulation. Yeah, so that's the main concept of what a manipulator and what manipulation is. And it can become very, very refined, not easy to discern. It doesn't need to be ham-fisted and like a bludgeon. It might be very, very elegantly distilled into little stimulations and ideas that are planted like a shrapnel in the other person's mind for them to backfire when the time comes. And those are the master manipulators. Those are the people that you would never think are manipulating you, but they are. And that's what we call a master manipulator, someone that is not being an idiot with their manipulating. They are more aware of how to hide themselves and the strings that they are attaching to things. Yeah.
So it's like common characters that do this, at least in stories and stuff like that. I think like a classic character would be the poisonous older mother-in-law or something like that, or mother. Sometimes it's father, but often it's an older mother that does this in stories.
Well, one of the most characteristic ones that come to mind immediately is in Rapunzel mother Gethel. Like before she pulls her mask off and shows exactly who she is, like before she has the showdown with Flynn and all of that. When we see how she interacts with Rapunzel when they are together and before she leaves and all of that, she does this manipulation. Like her whole song is a manipulative tactic that she is employing. If you have seen that movie.
No.
I see. It's honestly, I recommend it because I don't think that they have created a more manipulation heavy villain than her. Like she tops even Gaston because Gaston is not that smart. So she, like when she comes and she arrives and she talks to Rapunzel, Rapunzel asks her to go out for her birthday. And then she basically tells her that she is too stupid and too weak and the world is too dangerous for her to be out. And then once Rapunzel becomes disappointed about that, she showers her with, her favorite things like a soup and paint for her to paint and stuff like that. So she brings her down, denies the one real thing that she wants, and then she gives her other things that are pleasant to her that she doesn't actually want or is asking for at the time by and shows her that she's a good mother, so and she's giving her things and she is loving her, so Rapunzel shouldn't question her denying. And that's why the song is called Mother Knows Best, because like I'm your mom, I know best, you are going to listen to me even and basically not listen to me, you're not going to question me, and that's the big thing. If I say no, it's no. Yeah, you don't need more than that. So yeah.
Yes, that's quite a significant one. I was just thinking along the similar lines. We have the famous mother character from The Sopranos, who is very famously noted as being that kind of character. If you've ever seen the Sopranos series, I haven't seen much of it.
I haven't.
But, she was obviously a very toxic character, and it was the whole thing of that was the fact that Tony Soprano was quite, he was a mafia boss. So he was quite evil, but then he had this other person who was actually in charge of him, and who wasn't as directly evil. She didn't like commit all these terrible crimes like him. She wasn't directly responsible for that kind of thing. But then again, it was like interesting that this evil character had someone who he was intimidated by. And
Yeah.
that was her. That
Yeah.
was a really good little effect. So she is a significant character in the world of fiction as a manipulative character. And I had a big one in my head, and I can't remember what it was. I had another one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Laura from the famous Billy Joel song. If you ever, Baines, you would know this maybe. You know Billy Joel songs?
Oh, I'm trying to remember the song. I know this. I know the title.
Laura.
I don't know the words, so I don't know the story of the song.
So it goes into detail about how this Laura manipulates him, and he can't help it, and he knows he's being manipulated, but she knows too well how to manipulate him, so he cannot break free of it. That he has to do what she says. He's beholden because she has. He has these filial responsibilities, and Laura's apparently based on his mum's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fascinating take.
Unfortunately, and that, of course, don't take this. It's not a rule. It's just that very frequently manipulation happens. Manipulation happens from parents to kids, or from spouse to spouse, or from sibling to sibling. These are very, very frequent circuits, let's say, where you have one person basically being able to manipulate the rest of the people in the family. Or you can have a constellation of manipulators, and that's another thing. You could have one master manipulator and an attack dog style manipulator in the same constellation of people, and the one that draws the ire of people is the attack dog, and the master manipulator is never really in the picture when they are thinking of toxic stuff happening in their family, in their friend group. Also, friend groups usually have one that does it. Like if you have drama, quote unquote, in your friend group, then usually you have at least one of those causing it. And it may not be the person that is being blamed for the drama, may not be the manipulator, could be the one reacting to the manipulation, for example. So don't be quick to say, okay, because Tom is causing the drama, he's the manipulator, or because Dick is the one that is very quiet, he's the manipulator. You have to be able to know how to spot them. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So, what about manipulators as evil characters? I think that there are lots of kinds of manipulators too. I mean, there's those people like Andrew. What was he? Andrew Tate? Was he called that or something? Tate. There was
yes.
Yeah.
But he was not a manipulator. He was an idiot. I don't think he was. Yeah.
But his whole thing, was meant to be about convincing women to, I can't remember what it is, chat up artists or something, pick up artists, and you do that by manipulating the women. So you do that by criticizing and breaking down their self-esteem and all that. So there's those manipulative tactics.
Yeah, those are manipulative tactics. Now, how successfully he could apply them is questionable, in the sense that there is a thing, you know how they say that a woman is out of your league or something like that. Well, that goes for manipulation more than for looks, in the sense that not everyone can manipulate everybody else. You have to have a level of intellectual acumen to manipulate someone you don't know. It is easier to manipulate someone that you know, who is in your family and you are very familiar with, even if you are not, very particularly clever. But in order to be able to manipulate someone that you don't know, there are more skills are required, is what I'm saying. And usually what these kinds of people that are not very capable are doing is they go to people that are already broken down. They are already uh,
Prone.
without any self. Yeah, and very, very fragile already. So the work has been done for them. And so in a sense, they know that. And how do they know that? If they give a little bit of attention to a person that is so broken already, they will immediately respond very enthusiastically. And that is the tell, quote unquote, that such a stupid person like Tate needs in order to advance and prey on these women that he managed to ensnare and
Yeah.
so on.
So then we're
yeah.
getting into the topic of manipulative people.
Yes.
So you're more manipulatable if you have, certain psychological issues or trauma, or, you're suffering for some reason. You need money, whatever. These things make you more of a target.
Exactly. Like, for example, another easy target is a person that is in grief. Yeah, someone that has just lost someone dear to them and is mourning is very potentially okay. Is like, I'm not saying for everybody. I'm just talking in general rules, right? They are more fragile in the sense that they are more prone to be manipulated, because when we are grieving, we really need comfort. And anyone that offers comfort is more likely to go past defenses that we would otherwise have. So you can see people that are manipulators going after, like for example, people that prey on women might specifically target women that have just lost some, and shower them with love. Uh, they are hooked, and then they will be able to manipulate them, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So that is like, yeah, when you are in pain, when you need comfort of some sort, that opens you up to a manipulator more than usual.
Okay. So in terms of fiction, you would normally not really use those kind of manipulators, like people who are going after that kind of thing, unless you're depicting, like, I don't know, like a philanderer or a serial killer or something like that. You wouldn't really normally depict that. Normally, if you are depicting a manipulator, you'd use that for a villain, most likely, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Depends, I think, on the fiction, and also how complex you want to make it, because manipulators don't really offer themselves to a lot of shorthand like is necessary for fiction. So usually you have the villain being very straightforwardly villainous, unless they are like a surprise villain. That's when you might see a manipulator. Uh, like when the villain is not directly obvious, and then they have a reveal. Like in Frozen, for example, a very bad example, because he was obvious from the beginning, in my opinion. This prince dude, I don't remember his name.
Oh yeah, the one who wants to marry the Elsa or whatever.
Anna. He wants to marry Anna, and then he leaves her to die and stuff like that. So he basically wants the kingdom, so he's trying to crawl up one of the princesses to get it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we could have like traits of manipulator. Traits of a manipulator in our villains. Like, I've done that. I think I've tried to do that in like CC. don't know whether I've really shown it, but I've shown her as being a character who would think in those terms, like wouldn't necessarily use. Yeah, actually, she did use those kind of things in chapter. What was it? Chapter 8, I think. Or chapter 7. I'm not sure. One of the chapters where her and Ace try and manipulate people into thinking that they're actually helping and they're good guys in order to get their own way. So I did do that. I did show them being as manipulators. Oh my god. By convincing people. So that's a very simple way of showing a manipulator in fiction, in that you have people trying to convince people of a lie. They're convincing they're being helpful, whereas when they're not being helpful. Or they're, convincing people of one thing and then they're doing it in order to achieve another objective. I think that's a pretty common way of depicting a villainous character or villainous actions. I find it actually really annoying in fiction when they do that, because I don't like characters who are being deceived. I don't like people showing. I don't like deception in my fiction. It's like rubs me the wrong way that my heroes that I'm following, my protagonists, are being deceived. Fair enough if the writer is so clever that I don't see them being deceived until the last moment. That's really cool. I love it when that happens. But if I can see my characters, the protagonist I'm following is being deceived, that rubs me the wrong way, because I'm thinking, no, don't fall for it. Oh my god, I can't stand it that they're being misled. So that's my personal thing. What about you guys? How do you respond to that kind of deception?
You go first, Baines.
I definitely find them, like, characters who do that, very hateable.
Yeah.
And who manipulate, not the deceive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big pet peeve of mine. So I was happy to hear when I sort of learned that is maybe one of the big things that defines, like, a narcissist or whatever it would be, like a bad person, is the manipulator or the control freak, or the controlling person. Controlling behavior is like evil behavior, kind of by its nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use it a lot in comics, a ton. My heroes tend to be a little more honest, a little more naive, and when I want someone to be hated because it makes me hate them, I have someone or be manipulative.
Oh yeah, your scapegoat in Community Fall. In
Yeah,
Continuity Falls, this one.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. I just did it. So little Elmer, kind of deceiving, naive, trucked up, and yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that, he has been very successful. Like, I don't think Track has realized he was being deceived, even now that he is in the clear, because of the fine print. So
yeah, I agree. He still doesn't get it.
It's not capable.
I haven't put a fine point on it. I probably won't. For vision that he thought meant he was going to be deceived, and he still doesn't.
He
still doesn't see it.
He is a manipulatable person.
He is.
Anybody can manipulate him. That's one of the ironic things about Frances in Bottomless Waitress, in that she will inadvertently manipulate people without realizing it, because she's pretty and their brains get turned off when they talk to her. But she is a very manipulable person because of how naive she is, and how she just takes things very literally and at face value. So while she's a manipulable person, that rarely happens to her because she just converts everybody else into her followers without realizing. Like, one of the things about her is, so, you know, she's you know, a very pretty lady with, you know, she's buxom and all this kind of thing, and she has, you know, a big pair of eyes that people will just fall into, and so a lot of men mainly, and even big Nikki, they will automatically become besotted by her and do what she wants, regardless of their own best interest, just because their own brains kind of just turn off their better judgment. But because she is, you know, a naive, ingenue kind of character, you have more intelligent people like Polly and Jane, who are not prone to being, you know, having their brains turned off and following her because, you know, they become besotted, still capable of being manipulated inadvertently by Frances, because they see her as someone who needs protection and guarding and looking after. So even they will become inadvertently manipulated by.
Right, yeah. Taking a,
so yeah,
what is it? Weaponized incompetence? Is that the term?
Yes.
Well,
I don't think Frances is doing that. But...
yeah, I don't think, like, Frances is, I think, very ideal.
Yeah.
She's
right, yeah, it's not
just like a natural formation. She's just radioactive. Everyone gets drawn. She's like the neutron star. Everybody gets drawn into her gravity and affected by her regardless. She just has that effect. It's fascinating, that kind of character. I love it. I love her even more now as a character, realizing
that's very interesting. Yeah.
She's the true queen of the
like
comic.
a weaponized incompetence person, like a person using that, would not be actually incompetent. They would be basically they would be passively resisting certain things.
Yeah, like that character in Something About Mary, you know, the one played by the guy who's falling over himself and it's going, oh, he can't walk properly and he falls over and he's pretending to be some professor. I do too. He's the worst character in the whole movie.
He's such a douchebag.
But that is the weaponized incompetence. Because, I need help, and Mary's going, I have to look after him, you know, I have to, you know, and we all have to help him out. It turns out he's a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, and that, you know what? Now that you mention it, he is a straight up like a good textbook case of a manipulator, because he's trying to go after a woman that he feels he cannot win over with his actual identity, because he feels very low status, for example, and not very smart and not whatever. So he creates a situation where if she rejects him, she will feel like a bad person because he needs help, because he's disabled or whatever, and also he tries to convince her that he is smarter than he is by saying that he is from Harvard or whatever. I don't remember, some Ivy League college,
probably.
And all this stuff,
which of course is a stupid thing, because how long will he be able to keep up this ruse? And then, yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, I love the fact that, you know, it's all a fake personality and a fake British accent, but in reality, that's his real accent, and the American accent is fake.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's an English actor, so that's hilarious. But sorry, Tantz.
Yeah, he's a comedian as well, I think, and yeah, he does do a good job. It's hilarious that the fake character in the movie is his real self.
Yeah. Which I actually, as a comedian, I never liked him as a comedian because I didn't like the pratfalls that he always does. But it
I don't
fits
even
the
know his
character
stuff.
perfectly. Yeah. Like, it's full of that, oh, I'm an idiot, oh, and falling over and stuff like that. I never liked it. But for the character, it fits. Yeah, but what's his damn name? It's like, it's in my brain. It's one of those annoying things. I'm not even gonna know. I'm not even gonna look it up.
Oh, I don't know.
Dear, that's hilarious. Anyway, yeah, so weaponized incompetence is a thing, and we can use that. So next time, remember that when you want to manipulate people. I mean, I've seen that a lot of times with people who. Okay, let me tell you a story. Way back when I was doing my, I was going to art college and, being an art student and all this kind of stuff. And we had this great kind of area where I'd study with all my kind of fellow acrylic artists, my acrylic painter friends. We'd all be in this studio together. And there was this one woman who used to be a fashion model. She used to be a pretty, well-to-do pretty famous fashion model. And so she was a very, very beautiful lady. And she would, often, chat and talk and tell stories about how, people would get, even now, besotted by her looks. And she'd be able to get them to help with things like, oh yeah, because she's so pretty, they'll just fill up her car with petrol for her and all this kind of thing. So it's the weaponized incompetence kind of thing, and she would take advantage of that because why wouldn't she? Because she had that chance of it, and people would give her free stuff and all this kind of thing just because they were besotted by her beauty. And give her a hand and help her out regardless. But it was the funny and ironic thing was, so I'm there, with these people and studying. We're all working together, and this was back in the 90s. So back then I was a very kind of very, very skinny, very slight person. I'm still pretty slight, but I was really, really slight. And I'm not that tall. I'm fairly kind of short, but very skinny. So people often will people would often go, oh, let me do that for you. Let me help. And she would help. She would automatically do the kind of behavior she would describe for other people. I'd help. They would help Phil. She would do that for me because she saw me as being oh, he's too small, or he's too he can't do that. So I'll do that for him. I'll do this. So I found that rather ironic in that she was talking about, using that kind of behavior on other people, but also being prone to the same kind of behavior as she was describing in other people as being prone to that herself. And anyway, that was rather interesting. Yeah, and that would happen to me, more often than was, people would often do this. Say I was doing sail training back in the day, and say we all had to get together to row this boat in this competition. And because the girls were slightly bigger than me, they said, "Oh no! Oh, you don't have to do that. You can sit in the you be the cox or whatever. You'll sit and do the steering because you're too as robust as us." And of course, I was physically strong enough. But if they were going to do that for me, then fine. So yeah, if that's offered to you, then you do it. But I don't think, that's not a you're not actively manipulating people in that, unless you are. But I wasn't.
Yeah. You were the Francis.
Yes, you're the
Yeah.
fastest. But if you were the kind of person who was prone to it, you could easily take advantage of that. You could
Yeah.
go, oh, I am small and little. I can't do that. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
thank you, because that hurts me. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. So while you might not be a manipulator, it would be very easy if you were prone to that, to take advantage of that situation, and whatever. So anyway, like Baines, do you have any particular stories about manipulators or manipulation or being manipulated?
Oh boy. I'm sure. Yeah. There's a good one coming to mind.
You're
Okay,
immune
this
to
is a little
manipulation.
weird. I don't know if I'm right about this, but one time I knew this woman. We were seeing each other,
Yeah.
and she dropped a hint to me, and I didn't clue in until a long time later, after we were broken up. I wasn't seeing her anymore, but she dropped a hint, I think, that she was putting out a feeler to see if I would get rid of her husband.
What?
What the fuck? Oh my lord!
To use some kind of phrase. That's the kind of thing you see it. You remember that Nicole Kidman movie, To Die For, where that's
Yeah.
that kind of classic noir, the femme fatale classic story, where she'll manipulate some dope into killing someone she wants killed, and he takes the fall. Um, she said something that was very much along those lines, and it made no impact on me. It bounced right off me. But you reminded me of this, Tantz, when you said it doesn't work on everyone, or
Mhm.
it doesn't fit everyone. And not that I'm so smart or whatever, but it just didn't even occur to me to ever do that, to please her, or like, oh, we can be together for real if, or I'll be happier if, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was many months later. I was like, was she like just cracking the door open to see what I would say?
Wow.
So yeah, that's one. Like I said, I don't know if I'm right. As far as I know, no one ever died in her orbit. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that does happen. That's been a noted thing in many murder cases.
Right? Oh yeah, well, plenty of real cases too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my god. Nasty. Nasty.
Yeah. Again, I'm
That's
not sure. I'm not sure about that. I have no idea really.
You know
that
what,
is
though?
fascinating.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Yeah,
It's definitely
that's quite
possible.
quite possible. One of the comments I made, just to bring up another thing, one of the comments I made in the manipulator thread was that it's like, as a real person, you do, like, for me personally, I don't like the idea of directing what other people think in a way that's contrary to what they would normally think, or deceiving people, or changing people's views without the person coming to that themselves.
Yeah.
Even having someone agree with me, like, really strongly, and in doing so they're paraphrasing what I say, that still feels wrong, because it doesn't feel like their own thoughts. So, and I think my instinct is to think that is a fairly universal thing, that most people don't like to have other people parroting their thoughts, or in a way that it means that they've influenced them to do what they want. Like, that's is that right, Tantz, that most people do not like knowingly making people do what they want?
I wouldn't know, honestly, because I wouldn't make that statement. I'll be honest. I wouldn't make that statement. I have seen a lot of people that would like to be able to do that, but not everyone can. That's one thing. There are, let me think. um, uh, no, I would say that to be a manipulator, the requirement is not only to have a very low self-esteem inherently of yourself, but also want to hide it and prove to people that, like, to hide it from the world by proving to the world that you are not who you actually are, if that makes sense, because it's a very distorted way of thinking. So instead of looking to better yourself and so better, like, get a better self-esteem, you are looking to convince, quote unquote, people that you are better than you actually are. And that means, like, your subjective idea of yourself, right? So in order to
Okay.
be a manipulator, you will want to deceive people. The the idea of deception is there, and unfortunately, it may be a little bit subconscious, but it's not subconscious enough. People that are manipulators like to deceive.
Okay, but I
So
was telling like the opposite of it, like
yeah,
because
I'm going from the opposite direction. So by
okay,
definition of that, I would say that, yeah, no, the majority of people don't like to deceive, I would say. I would place my bet there. But it's a big percentage that does. Let's put it that way. But not the
okay.
majority, but a big percentage.
As I recounted this thing in the forum thread about being able to lucid dream, and like I learned
Mm.
this like way long ago when I was a child about lucid dreaming, and I found that an incredibly negative experience because what's the point of having a dream if you control everything? See, the
Mm-hmm.
fun part of dreaming is having your random experiences that you'd never consciously decide to do. It's just like being surprised. And in a lucid
Mm-hmm.
dream, you can control everything, like in an absolutely lucid dream. So then, like a lot of people talk about that as if, oh, that's like a goal that would be, that would be amazing and fun. But in reality, it's not because it's nothing in that dream is like a is is novel. There's nothing in it's all you have to create it yourself. So it's totally freaking boring. Um, and that's really how I see manipulation. In that,
Mm.
what's the point of having people parrot your ideas and stuff like that? And the fun of being around other people is having them come to you with their own ideas and their own solutions to things. Like the whole fun of like interacting with people at all is that everybody is different and have different objectives and things like that.
Mm.
Like, oh, anyway, so that's just my whole take on that thing. It's like,
No, I totally agree. And well, in my job, one big part is to teach people to spot and defend from, but to defend from manipulations. It's a very big thing. Uh, so the issue is a manipulator is a very sad person deep down, not sad but also dangerous, right? But they are a person that are so insecure they can't dare to allow that. They don't feel the excitement of, oh, let's see what the other people are going to do. They feel fear. So that's the difference.
okay. So you have to have a bit of a different bent, a different personality in order
Mm.
to do that. This is a huge subject. We can go even deeper into it. We can even go like onto the idea of serial killer characters, not serial killers, but those kind of like a Ted Bundy-esque kind of characters, like a specific
Mhm.
kind. who are manipulators, or we could, talk about certain politicians who are
sure.
prone to this. It's a deep topic. Or even in terms of manipulating the audience as a writer, that meta manipulation, in that you learn how to manipulate them in order to have certain expectations, in which, as a writer, you should be able to know how to do that in order to be able to subvert their expectations, to surprise them, or to elicit certain emotions like sadness or shock or anger as a writer. Mm-hmm. So those are very important abilities, and that's not negative at all, is it? That's a valuable skill to have.
No, you're supposed to be able to do that. Otherwise, how are you going to make the story work?
Yeah.
Exactly. But yes, this will be a bigger topic maybe for another time, after the next Quackcast, which is something else.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for being part of the Quackcast, Baines and Tantz. Thank you.
Woo!
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 All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.